Up next, we continue to get the mood of Main Street. Many Americans are afraid of foreclosure. We'll have some tips to help you avoid the F word. More Money for Breakfast is on the way.
The fear of foreclosures is gripping the country. Once confined mostly to the Midwest, the housing crisis is spreading, with California and Texas its latest casualties, and more states are projected to post a spike in foreclosures well into 2008. Today, the ripple effect of the housing crisis and how you can avoid it. Joining us now from Cleveland, where the foreclosure issue is most felt, is Cuyahoga County, Ohio Treasurer Jim Rokasis, and from Denver, NeighborWorks America Homeownership Director Marietta Rodriguez, and from Washington, D.C., you surely recognize her. She's Kendra Todd, the winner of Apprentice 3. She's a real estate expert, a TV host, and the managing broker of the Kendra Todd Group. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, Jim, if you don't mind, let's get started with you. You know, you're feeling the pinch the worst there. Tell us what you're seeing and why it's such a big issue in Cleveland.
Probably 10,000 vacant homes in the city of Cleveland, but this is a crisis that has now spread from the central city to many of the first-ring suburbs. There's about 1,100 vacant homes in the suburb of Euclid, probably 900 plus in the suburb of Cleveland Heights, 450 in Warrensville Heights. This is a crisis that has spread to almost every corner of Cuyahoga County. The impact on local governments has been especially tough. The city is staring at a $100 million demolition bill with no money. But it's not just demolition, it's the fact that these cities are being forced to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on maintaining these vacant properties so as to keep the property values of those who are left still standing. So this has become a real problem and very costly to local governments.
Marietta, I mean, those are staggering statistics when you take a look at the level of foreclosures. Your group, NeighborWorks America, is tracking some of them. Where are the real hot spots other than places like Cleveland?
Thank you. We've seen hot spots certainly in the Midwest, and the Rust Belt has felt this for several years now. We're starting to see, you're right, California, Texas, Florida, some of the more appreciating markets really start to feel this pinch and turn into a much bigger crisis as a result of some of these resetting arms.
Kendra, let's bring you in. You're a real estate expert. What are the options that people have to avoid foreclosure? Tell us about some of those.
Well, you know, I think that the best defense is a good offense, and people that are having financial difficulties right now, they need to know that lenders exist to do more than simply collect mortgage payments every month. There are a lot of options. Lenders are more willing to work with people today more than ever, and really they need to be looking at solutions before they get into trouble. There are a lot of people who specialize in short selling the bank. There are a lot of different options, but the big thing I want to stress to consumers is that more than half of the people that go into foreclosure do so without contacting their lender once. So they need to try and salvage their credit so that one day they can afford a house again.
Very important point. Marietta, you guys have been running TV commercials, trying to give people the sound advice to get some help and to speak to somebody. Where can they get housing counseling, and what do you think they can do to help you?
Well, certainly. I mean, Kendra's right. 50% of those families and individuals in financial distress never respond to outreach from their lender. It's really a staggering figure. We would encourage folks to seek assistance from a local HUD-certified housing counseling agency. Folks can go to the HUD.gov website to find those agencies. Additionally, there is a foreclosure hotline nationally. It's 1-888-995-HOPE. And that has immediate on-demand counseling available. Many times folks are just confused about what their options are. Oftentimes someone in foreclosure and in financial distress may be dealing with a variety of issues, medical emergency, a job loss, a divorce, a death in the family. And the foreclosure and the financial issues are just one piece of a larger puzzle. So sitting down with a reputable housing counselor to help sort out some of these issues is absolutely someone's first step. There are resources in the community that can help them. I think the other message here is that foreclosures hurt everyone. Certainly you heard the impact that it's had in Cuyahoga County. That impact is being felt throughout the country. Communities are being devastated by this issue.
Jim, let's turn back to you in Cuyahoga County, because you're the treasurer. Tell us, Who is specifically being hurt in this situation? Is it traditional families buying homes? Is it people who bought homes on speculation? Who's really feeling the pinch?
It's a mix. I would say that a third of the people out there who are losing these properties are probably the weekend tycoons, probably took a course somewhere, watched an internet program and thought they can get rich. And quite frankly, the system allowed them to buy. It allowed them to buy with no credit and allowed them to buy with no down payment. And amazingly, a lot of them got cash back at the close. Of the remaining, let's say two-thirds, a third are people who never should have been in a home to begin with. Again, these loose underwriting requirements got them into these loans. They're not sustainable. I've sat in on many of these sessions because we have a very active foreclosure prevention program, and I've listened to these stories. About a third will never be able to sustain a loan at any number. And then we're trying to save that remaining third. But I have to disagree with your prior panelists. We have had a very, very tough experience with the banks in this country. Things have loosened up as of late, but we've had a foreclosure prevention program in place since March of 2006. We've counseled thousands of buyers, and I can go on all morning with stories of banks unwilling to negotiate until recently. We've seen some moving lately, but I have stories that I've sat in on counseling sessions where banks are unwilling to move. They would rather the property be foreclosed and go vacant, and then, of course, it's vandalized and now it's worthless.
Well, you know, an important point, Kendra, here, before we go, if you're in a neighborhood where there's a lot of foreclosures, do you recommend you stay put or try to get out?
Well, you know, that's an important question because the other victims of foreclosures are the people who are still living in these neighborhoods where prices are, you know, dramatically dropping. And right now, in the harder hit areas like Cleveland, Las Vegas, South Florida, there's really nothing that you can do because if you bought your home in the last couple of years, more than likely you wouldn't be able to sell it and get your money back. So people need to navigate through these tough times by figuring out ways to be able to stay in their house and not, you know, be affected by the financial crisis as well. Because we're going to see a lot of other people who are forced to move because of personal or career reasons, and they're going to be carrying two mortgages. So we're going to start to see a ripple effect.
All right, Jim, Marietta, and Kendra, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.